Welcome to the podcast, Wake Up Humans with Steve Judson.
Hey, this is Dr. Steven Judson, and you're listening to the Wake Up Humans podcast. This podcast wants to open up the pre-existing notions that people have in life and create a discussion to help people discover their purpose as a human being and unlock their innate potential. Too many people are walking around asleep. We call them sheep. It's not an insult, it's just the way that people have been programmed and educated in today's society. And we want to open up the possibility for thought, discussion, and to maybe challenge some misconceptions and things that are perceived as facts that we're walking around with in today's society. Many people are unaware of an incredible truth that could literally save their lives, but they just have to understand that power. And we want people to understand that the greatest intelligence lives within inside of them. It's called your innate intelligence. It's housed in your central nervous system, and it's expressed through the nerves going to every cell tissue of the body. And when people learn to live innately, think innately, and live clear, they're able to make better decisions in life, and they find their purpose, and they become powerful. When they understand that the body can restore itself through this body's innate healing potential, the healing power that transforms lives and unlocks their potential, they wake up. One of the biggest things we see in our practice is when people start holding their atlas and they start living clear, life becomes clearer. They become happier, they become healthier, they become more vibrant. And people want research, and I tell them that people have been learning to live clear by keeping their atlas clear for over 125 years. To me, that's enough research. But there's a lot of new research going on, but one of the most amazing things is you could now surf the internet, Netflix. I just realized that I have this thing called Prime Video because we're an Amazon Prime holder. And there's amazing documentaries. I just watched an amazing one on MS Hope on Prime. And if you know anyone with MS, and even if you don't have it, you should watch it. And it gives insight as to what's going on in the politics of healthcare in the industry. There's another one that I watch. It's called Cancer Can Be Killed. Absolutely amazing. People going over to Germany with stage 4 cancers and getting healed after 2 weeks of treatment. It's just a thought. I'm not saying it's fact, but what I'm saying is try it. And the question is, why aren't we doing this in the United States if they are getting the results? Just a thought. I don't have the answers. I have opinions. I have experience. I have knowledge gained through experience. I like to think I'm right, but there's probably many who will try to prove me wrong. But I know darn well there's too many of these things coming out now that the initial perception is it's truth, and it's challenging a way of thought that I know within our own country many people are starting to question. And through some research this weekend, I was finding out that within the new norms of childbirth and children's health as infants, some interesting statistics. 1 in 166 children born have a tic disorder. 1 in 100 will have epilepsy. 1 in 45 will have autism. 1 in 20 will have a sensory processing disorder. 1 in 13 will have a deadly food allergy. 1 in 12 will have asthma. 1 in 12 will have a speech disorder. 1 in 10 will have ADHD. And 1 in 5 will have eczema. One of the key words in our vocabulary is the word perception. And what is perception? It's what people perceive to be the truth by what someone tells them. And usually the person that speaks with the most authority wins. Someone who could maybe cite some research and scientific statistical facts wins. But I've also learned that winning is only for the moment. And having read a lot of scientific journals and studied pre-med and going off to school and studying the sciences, you realize that 20 years ago, something that I was studying that was correct is now wrong, has changed. I was taught that there were 450 million nerve fibers in the brainstem, and now they're talking about 3 trillion nerve fibers in the brainstem. And it's ironic because that answer would now be wrong. So how I was judged and what I perceived to be correct was wrong. But it was what I was given as a fact, statistically, and what I was taught. And then when you read these new normals and outcomes of children being born in our country, these disorders, epilepsy, autism, asthma, speech disorders, ADHD, you're realizing that the one thing in common with all of these, it's all an adverse effect of a nervous system that's not functioning properly, which means it's not able to adapt. What would make one child have a food allergy and another not? Some may say genetics, but does that mean every person in that family will have the same allergy? And the resounding answer is no. A child being born with epilepsy, why is the nervous system going into shock and expressing itself like that? A child with a tic disorder. And what about asthma? The lungs not expanding properly and able to adapt. It's always interesting when someone says, well, it's only sports-induced asthma or exercise-induced asthma. Does that mean you can never exercise, run, work out, play because the lungs are not adapting? And we understand the basic science of physiology and that the lungs cannot adapt or do what they need to do unless the nerves going to them are functioning properly. You cut the nerves going to the heart stops. You die. You cut the nerves going to your pinky finger doesn't work. It doesn't bend. You interfere with the nerves going to the brain, you have a seizure or epilepsy. You cut the nerves going to the eyes or the face, you start developing a tic. You interfere with the nerves going to the lungs, you develop asthma. It's pretty simple. If I cut off the highway going south and stop it, the highway going south gets backed up and congested. And for as long as it's blocked, we'll determine how many miles and congestion that is backed up. And if it's not corrected, we have a major problem. Am I saying that nerve interference is the cause of all these things? Absolutely not. But what I am saying is, could it be the fact that the body can't adapt through the nerves is the major problem? No matter how we look at it, the nerves are involved. And the nerves are going to do their job and talk to you and let you know if there's an issue with adaptation. Because if the body can't adapt, the body can't restore, the body can't heal. And it'll adapt, but in a different way. It'll create signs and symptoms to let you know there's a problem. And in our country, we call that sickness. And the thought process is where there is sickness, you treat it with drugs to shut the symptom down. But we have to ask ourselves through perception and reality, what is the cause? What is the cause of all these children being born with these disorders? Many people want to blame the food, the air, the meds, the drugs, and they are directly correlated, absolutely. But the major problem is our perception and the decisions we're making whether or not to use the meds, the drugs, or the foods we put in our body. That is the ultimate problem. We cannot blame the medical doctors for doing what they're trained to do and for giving the people what they are showing up for. It's not their fault. It's the perception that that is the answer for everything that has become the problem. We can't blame the pharmaceutical companies for doing all the marketing they do and for loading the airways and the byways and the magazines and everything with information to try to sell people on a product that many people want. But what we do have to blame is our perception, our choices to choose that. And when we wake up and realize that we can make our own decisions and we don't have to choose that road, and that becomes the road less traveled, is when we'll start seeing families get healthier in our country, when people make better decisions on their lifestyle and the integrity of their central nervous system. And this is why every family needs to know the term, how's your atlas? And what the atlas does and what the job of the atlas is, protecting anywhere from 450 million nerve fibers to trillions of nerve fibers, pick your source. To understand that when that atlas is clear and there's less interference, if any, on the central nervous system, the body perceives the internal and external world better. With greater perception and adaptation from within, life will get better. Health expression will be better. The need for outside-in influences will be less. And perhaps we'll see these statistics finally start to change. It's time to wake up and realize that things are not getting better, but they have gotten worse. But there's enough technology out there to let us know that the answers come from within. And when we live a better lifestyle, our outcomes will be better. So wake up to this principle and be open-minded to the fact that the intelligence that created you right now listening to this podcast from 2 cells in 9 months to a highly functioning creature that we call a human being was all developed by one major system, and that's called your central nervous system. And the utmost of intelligence that makes you function is in the brainstem. And the brainstem is protected by the atlas. And when the integrity of the atlas is diminished, aka subluxated, the expression of the nervous system is diminished, and the perception of the world from within changes. And any cell tissue organ that is not getting proper intelligence, nerve function, nerve flow, is not going to adapt, restore itself, and express itself to its fullest potential. And there's no drug on the planet that can change that. It's time to wake up and live clear. Have that atlas checked, cleared, and then listen to yourself innately as to the better lifestyle changes you can make. And your world will be a better place. God bless you. Share this with those you love, and make it an amazing day.
You've been listening to Wake Up Humans with Steve Judson. To get Steve's books, Wake Up Humans and Atlas Adjusted, just visit Amazon. The Wake Up Humans podcast is a copyright of Steve Judson. Be sure to look up other episodes. Wake Up Humans will educate, inspire, and bring you clarity. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Humans with Steve Judson. Visit JudsonChiropractic.com.